Welcome back to Nokus Reality, your ultimate destination for all the raw, unfiltered, and mind-blowing drama straight from the heart of Beverly Hills. For years, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star, Erika Jayne, lived in the heavy, dark shadow of disgraced legal tycoon Tom Girardi. Scandals, courtrooms, and relentless headline coverage made it seem like her fairy tale life was permanently shattered. But just when the world thought Erika's story was locked in tragedy, a jaw-dropping plot twist completely rewritten her destiny. Erika Jayne is officially back in love, and this isn't just a fleeting summer romance. She's found her fortress in John Shrek McPhee, a retired U.S. Army Special Operations Sergeant Major. What started as quiet late-night podcast watching has exploded into luxury home gifts, a son's emotional blessing, unexpected pregnancy rumors, and an official wedding date set for August 27th. How did a pop star and a military hero cross paths in London and end up planning a high-stakes Beverly Hills wedding? Grab your popcorn, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications, because today, Nokus Reality breaks down the unbelievable true story of Erika Jayne, Tom Girardi, and John Shrek McPhee. Let's dive right in. For over 2 decades, Erika Jayne's world revolved around one man, Tom Girardi. On the exterior, they were the ultimate power couple, living in a large mansion in Pasadena, jetting around on private jets, dripping ultra-wealth on reality TV. But when Girardi's legal empire imploded amid damaging claims of fraud, Erika was left to deal with a legal nightmare and the aftermath in the court of public opinion. After the very public breakup, she built huge emotional barriers around herself, determined to guard her emotions and keep her private life behind lock and key. Fans have been asking for years if the Cold Queen of Beverly Hills would ever let anyone in again. The answer finally arrived in 2025, and from the most unlikely of places. Erika was heading to London for a music event when one night she came upon a video interview. He wasn't a Hollywood producer or a rich lawyer on her television. He was John Shrek McPhee, a decorated retired U.S. Army Special Operations Sergeant Major, top-level private security. Erika was intrigued by his calm authority, raw power, and grounded manner, and she couldn't forget his face. But then fate interfered. At the London music event, Erika saw McPhee backstage. Then, in an uncommon move for a woman used to being chased, Erika walked straight up to the battle-tested veteran, introduced herself, and confessed she was an admirer of his work. What began as a short, polite hello had ignited much more. John, which is to say, he didn't know who she was. He was utterly unaffected by her TV stardom, had no idea about the circus that was Beverly Hills. He treated her like a genuine person, not a headline. John's constant presence provided Erika with something she had not felt in 10 years, full security after a decade of feeling scrutinized and misrepresented. Once the flashing cameras were behind them, they talked for hours, soon discovering that, despite their radically different lives, they had a profound knowledge of what it meant to be misunderstood by the public. After their surprise spark in London, Erika Jayne and John Shrek McPhee were hit with a huge, immediate challenge. How can one of the most renowned, most scrutinized reality television stars on the globe date a high-level private security specialist without the entire world watching? For Erika, who had survived the prior few years under the constant gaze of public opinion, court cases, and intrusive cameras, the prospect of exposing a fledgling new relationship to the Hollywood media meat grinder was horrifying. She knew if the paparazzi caught wind of her moving on, the story would spiral out of hand in a flash. So, they made a silent deal to create a sanctuary away from the limelight. They started to meet together secretly to protect their relationship, carefully avoiding photographers and nosy fans. Their secret cosmos played out behind the thick doors of remote 5-star hotel suites in the world's main international cities. From exclusive and secretive hideaways in Europe to secluded, uber-private luxury penthouses on the West Coast, These off-the-radar locales were sanctuaries where two people from very different worlds could shed their armor. There were no glam squads in these lavish rooms, no Bravo producers yelling cues, no tactical operating pressures. Only John and Erika were there. Close friends of the musician said John's calm demeanor was a soothing antidote to the frenetic pace of Beverly Hills. He wasn't interested in her fancy outfit or her TV persona. He was pulled to the lady under it all. And Erika found a great deal of comfort in a man who didn't flinch under pressure and knew what it was to be subjected to intense public mischaracterization. They spent over a year learning the art of stealth, entering through private hotel entrances and ordering quiet, late-night meals only through room service. Even her Real Housewives of Beverly Hills castmates were kept fully in the dark, totally unaware that the ferociously guarded pop icon was discreetly falling in love behind closed doors. But in the glitzy, cutthroat world of celebrity romance, secrets this explosive are almost difficult to keep buried forever. Erika Jayne and John Shrek McPhee were trying their best to keep their budding romance tucked away behind high hotel walls, but an even bigger secret was building in the background. As the pair traversed the world for their clandestine rendezvous, guarded rumors began to seep from within the innermost circle. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills icon not only opened her heart to a decorated war veteran, but shocking rumors from various insider sources say Erika was hiding a bombshell announcement she was purportedly pregnant and expecting a kid. It was news that sent shockwaves through the Hollywood rumor mill for a pop artist whose entire career had been built on high-octane stage shows, skin-tight leather catsuits, and utter emotional stoicism. Erika, at 54, had survived a painful public dismantling and years of legal turmoil with Tom Girardi, and the idea of her venturing into motherhood once again seemed nearly unfathomable to her loyal following. Sources close to the issue, however, said the news had been a deep source of healing, warmth, and new purpose in her life behind closed doors. For months, Erika and John did everything in their power to keep this momentous secret from the public light. They refused sought-after red carpet invites, limited their inner circle to a handful of fiercely loyal pals, and strategically planned their rare public appearances to avoid the prying eyes of photographers. John's decades of experience in high-stakes special operations made him a careful overseer of their travel logistics, ensuring Erika's complete secrecy and safety during this sensitive period. But in the constant pressure cooker that is Beverly Hills, keeping a secret of this size submerged permanently is almost impossible. As eagle-eyed followers began to note minor shifts in her social media posts, less tight glam costumes, less late-night club performances, and a softer, more radiant presence, speculation reached a fever pitch. The media pressure was building up daily, with tabloids and entertainment blogs bombarding her management team for official confirmation. The walls of concealment were falling fast, and Erika and John had no choice but to face the inevitable, stay in the shadow of whispers, or step out and take charge of their own story. This imminent arrival was going to turn the whole Real Housewives series upside down in ways no producer could have ever anticipated. For almost a year, Erika Jayne and John Shrek McPhee were able to fly under the radar, living in a secluded world established in quiet luxury hotels and secret vacations. But in a city like Los Angeles, where photographers are hiding behind every corner, complete privacy in the modern digital age has an expiration date. No matter how carefully a special operations vet crafts a departure plan, the unblinking eye of Hollywood's media machinery ultimately finds everyone. The floodgates opened when the couple was snapped in unguarded images by the paparazzi on a low-key afternoon out. They stood side by side, hands clasped, fresh from a normal trip to the salon, and the contrast was striking. A glossy reality icon and a gruff, deeply tattooed tactical coach. Pictures spread like wildfire within hours on social media, entertainment websites, and gossip sites. Soon, the mystery man was recognized as John Shrek McPhee. and suddenly Erika's tranquil retreat was blown wide open. Back on the set of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the response was immediate. Dorit Kemsley and other cast members were shocked to discover of the affair through tabloid headlines instead of intimate confidences, leading to a frenzy of inquiry and probing questions at cast get-togethers. Erika's blood pounded, and with the journalists always around, cameras watching, and so much crazy speculation about her private life, she couldn't hide anymore. Erika and John, knowing that silence only fed sensationalized rumors, made the purposeful choice to step into the light together. In a string of personal moments and televised confessional interviews, Erika eventually confirmed what millions had suspected. John was officially the new man in her life. She said that after years of intense legal scrutiny, cruel public judgment, and the sad demise of Tom Girardi, she had finally met someone she could let her guard down with. Erika looked relaxed for the first time in years and admitted that John gave her a sense of safety and real understanding she hadn't felt in decades. When their romance went public, the media scrutiny on Erika Jayne and John Shrek McPhee was blinding. Gossip sites dissected every facet of their relationship, comparing the tough ex-military man to Erika's ex-husband, Tom Girardi. Openly, critics wondered if a decorated vet and a gorgeous reality TV star could ever really make a life together. But as the internet weighed in on their compatibility, John was planning a big gesture that would put the naysayers to rest and rattle the zip codes of 90210. John reportedly bought and handed Erika a gorgeous luxury home worth a whopping $2 million in an amazing show of dedication. For Erika, who had spent years rebuilding her financial stability from the ground up after the terrible collapse of Girardi's legal business and the loss of her Pasadena estate, this was more than just pricey real estate. It was stability, independence, a fresh start in a place she could finally call her own, free from lingering debts to the court or legal shadows. The Bravo fanbase and social media responded immediately and in droves. The message boards for reality TV were full with speculation, with fans talking about how big the present was. Where would a retired sergeant major working as a security consultant get the money for such a lavish gift? Was this John's way of becoming the breadwinner? Or a strategic romantic move to show the world how much he loved her? For Erika, used to people expecting something from her, John's kind gift was a turning moment. Her close friends said her feelings weren't about the price tag, but about what the house represented. A secure place to call home, designed with her future in mind. Meanwhile, back on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, her castmates were left totally shocked and trying to reconcile this breathtaking act of kindness with the silent, guarded man they were just starting to get to know. High-profile relationships are challenging enough, but for Erika Jayne, there was one person whose opinion mattered far more than any reality TV fan, tabloid headline, or Real Housewives castmate, her adult son, Tommy Zizzo. Tommy has always been Erika's number one concern. He's a diligent cop who has chosen to live his life away from the spotlight and the Hollywood cameras. With Tommy's mother having gone through the very public betrayal, court battles, and mental pain that Tom Girardi had put her through, it was only natural that Tommy would be protective of her heart. Erika understood that if she was going to take things up a notch with John Shrek McPhee, she would have to tread lightly, especially when it came to introducing him to her family. She worked out a method for Tommy and John to meet in a quiet, discreet environment away from the brightness of Beverly Hills and the interruptions of the outside world. The first meeting had had a certain gravitas. On one side, a veteran law enforcement officer with a practiced eye for judging character. On the other, a decorated former special operations sergeant major with decades of military discipline. Instead of clashing, the two guys discovered instant common ground. Their talk flowed easily from a mutual respect for service and discipline, and for defending the people they cared about. John didn't attempt to dazzle Tommy with big words or hype his newfound connection to reality TV fame, but instead demonstrated a consistent, down-to-earth respect for Erika that said a lot. Tommy would soon learn that John had no interest in the Erika Jayne stage image, but actually cared for the lady behind it. Tommy didn't need any more confirmation than seeing his mother suddenly looking relaxed, safe, and really pleased for the first time in years. When Erika finally got down with her son and asked him for his honest opinions and blessing before taking the next big step toward marriage with John, Tommy didn't hesitate. He nodded his head vigorously and welcomed him warmly, bringing John into their fold. And with the full blessing of her son, Tommy Zizzo had acquired the final piece of the puzzle. The murky suspicions that had followed Erika Jayne for years seemed to evaporate instantly. What had begun as a guarded private affair in faraway London hotel rooms was no longer a secret kept behind closed doors. It was an official high-stakes trajectory toward a brand new life. Erika and John, Shrek McPhee, were ready to come forward together as one and make the ultimate commitment. Then came the moment that officially sent shockwaves throughout the whole reality TV universe, the announcement of their wedding date. Erika and John's formal date was August 27th. Longtime pop culture observers knew the significance of the date, a heavy symbolic turning point, turning a date formerly associated with hefty legal chapters into a celebration of rebirth, healing, and unstoppable forward movement. Preparations went straight into overdrive behind the scenes. The best wedding planners in Los Angeles were hired to throw a Beverly Hills royal wedding, but Erika and John insisted that the heart of the ceremony remain intimate, grounded, and extremely personal. They wanted an occasion that reflected their unique blend of worlds. Tactical military honor meets Hollywood elegance. Custom rings, security arrangements taken care of by John's trusted network. No detail was overlooked. Choosing a wedding dress for Erika was not a typical bridal rite of passage, but an emotional milestone. After years of intense public scrutiny, standing in front of a mirror in a white gown was about taking back her joy on her own terms. Her inner circle said she appeared considerably lighter and was glowing with a brilliant vitality that fans haven't seen since her earlier days on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. In the cutthroat world of reality television, a major life event for an experienced housewife is not simply a personal affair, it's goal for network production. As news of Erika Jayne and John Shrek McPhee's August 27th wedding date spread throughout entertainment media, executives at Bravo saw the enormous broadcast value in this unexpected fairy tale. Erika had spent years dishing out dramatic courtroom updates, emotional blow-ups, and chilly defiance on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She was giving the network something it hadn't seen from her in over 10 years, real unscripted romance and hope. To drum up buzz for the approaching wedding and have first dibs on the footage of the preparations, Bravo network officials pulled a big, shocking stunt. They formally gave Erika and John a generous $20,000 wedding gift to help with their ideal ceremony and the expensive logistics of their celebration. A 5-figure donation is a big corporate stamp of approval in the industry of cable, and it's an indication the network sees Erika's new love story as a crown treasure for the upcoming season. But beneath the sparkling headlines and CEO largesse, fierce behind-the-scenes turmoil instantly started boiling inside the production apparatus. It's hard enough to film a celebrity wedding under the best of conditions, and then bring in a decorated former U.S. Army Special Operations Sergeant Major to the mix presented extraordinary challenges. John had spent his career in elite military tactics and high-level private security, and he guarded his personal space and operational privacy fiercely. John had drawn the line in the sand, and Bravo executives were salivating at the thought of TV cameras filming intimate wedding vows, tearful dress fittings, and posh venue decor. He was not going to let the network make a sensational spectacle out of their sacred day, and he was not going to sacrifice tight security standards for the sake of reality TV ratings. Ambitious producers vied for maximum camera access, and behind closed doors, negotiations grew hot. Erika was caught right in the middle, torn between her professional loyalty to the network that revived her public career and her strong desire to honor her partner's boundaries. Erika Jayne is on the brink of a whole new future, with the August 27th final countdown ticking down. For years, her story was entwined with the aftermath of Tom Girardi's downfall, courtroom fights, and the painstaking effort of pulling her life back together in a relentless spotlight. But today, the story has been transformed from survival to pure redemption. Erika has shown that no matter how much your history drags you down, you can always make a fresh start by falling in love with John Shrek McPhee. Erika has thrown aside her legendary Ice Queen armor beside a man who offers consistent safety, grounded genuineness, and true respect. She is not going into this future marriage for financial dependency or job convenience, but as an independent woman choosing a real equal. They are prepared to walk into a multi-million-dollar home, accept the wonderful gift of fresh beginnings, and create a blended family with the blessings of her son Tommy and those around them. Fans of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills have been riveted, watching Erika climb from the depths of personal tragedy to this sparkling new chapter. Nevertheless, while the legal dust surrounding her previous marriage may still be kicking about in tabloid headlines, Erika's gaze is set squarely to the horizon. With Bravo cameras filming the behind-the-scenes magic, an army of admirers cheering her on, and a decorated special operations veteran in her corner, the stage is set for a wedding celebration that will go down in pop culture history. The shadow of Pasadena is finally behind her, and Erika Jayne's new golden chapter is officially begun. What an absolute roller coaster of a journey. From quiet London hideaways and clandestine five-star hotel dates to a shock $20,000 Bravo wedding gift and an impending August 27th ceremony, Erika Jayne and John Shrek McPhee have given us one of the most unexpected, heartwarming, and dramatic love stories in reality television history. Now, we want to hear directly from you, the Nokus Reality family. Do you think John Shrek McPhee is the ultimate anchor Erika Jayne needed after the turbulent downfall of Tom Girardi? How do you feel about Bravo stepping in with a $20,000 gift? Will their August 27th wedding become the most watched Real Housewives event of the decade? And what do you think Tom Girardi's reaction would be to seeing Erika completely rebuild her life, home, and family with a special operations veteran? Drop your thoughts, theories, and wedding wishes in the comments section below. More update. Erika Jayne is opening up like never before. From revealing she was left emotionally numb after an abusive relationship to considering saying a final goodbye to Tom Girardi in prison, her latest confessions have stunned fans. She also shares rare details about her relationship with boyfriend John McPhee, reflects on her first divorce, and reveals how her son reacted during those difficult moments. Is Erika finally finding peace after years of heartbreak? Let's uncover every emotional twist in today's story. Erika Jayne spoke about a recent violent relationship on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. The reveal happened in season 15, episode 10, during Erika and Sutton Stracke's reunion with Denise Richards, where they talked about the latter filing for divorce from Aaron Vipers. She pulled up a picture of Denise with a black eye. And when the RHOBH alum relayed her experience, she told her, "Just so you know, I went through this as well." Erika stated the instances, which she said happened recently, did not include any of her husbands, including Tom Girardi. And no one knew at the time. "I met someone and it started out fun," Erika told a producer. "There were no expectations of happily ever after, or this is my person, or any of that, like Bull's tea. And it was a few months after meeting this guy that it became a mess." The first time this happened, I was incredibly calm and I put on my best hostage negotiator voice, Erika said in her confessional, without going into specifics of the altercation. And this person was king nuts. I was scared, but I was so numb inside I could hardly feel anything. Back at the table, Sutton inquired, "Who's the guy?" Erika responded, adding that their identity didn't really matter, but that it took place not too long ago. Tom it was after. It had happened more than once, Erika said, and then, the third time, I was like, this isn't for me. "I'm just gonna say one thing, and I'm gonna leave it right here," she went on. "You have no idea how embarrassing it is to be the mother of a police officer and have to pick up the phone and call 911. And then you call your family member and you say, 'I think you should hear this from me first before you hear it from anybody else.'" Erika told Sutton and Denise that the hard scenario was water under the bridge at this time, despite the horrific experience. "I've tried to pull myself up as best I can and keep moving forward," she said. "Thank God you got out," Denise said to Erika, who replied, "Yeah, sure. Well, it just stopped at the appropriate time, and that's gone long ago, but it is what it is." Meanwhile, as Denise pointed out further, Erika had lately started seeing someone new, boyfriend John McPhee, and she remarked, "Life moves on." But in a trailer for episode 11, Erika sadly tells her therapist she felt a lot of shame after getting hit or choked, and her therapist replies, "But you were very lucky that you survived." Meanwhile, Erika further explained on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after show that she also had leaned on Kyle Richards and Dorrit Kemsley for support. "I think it's important for everybody watching to understand that certain things are very delicate and you don't necessarily kind of reveal them in the moment," she elaborated. "When it was all finished, I told Kyle and Dorrit, and they were good enough to keep confidence from me." As for why Erika chose to tell her tale on RHOBH, she gave credit to brave Denise for sharing her story first, before adding, "It was on my heart, it was the appropriate time, and I did it." Erika Jayne reveals she's considering saying goodbye to Tom Girardi in prison. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 15, Episode 2, sneak peek shows Erika Jayne talking about her estranged husband Tom Girardi like never before. The Pretty Mess singer opens up about her connection with Tom Girardi in the footage above, after his 2024 wire fraud conviction and June sentence of more than 7 years in federal prison. The matter is broached when Sutton Strake starts, "So, I know that you're so over everything with Tom." "Oh, I'm not over that," Erika says. "I'm devastated. It fucking sucks. To know that person and to be married to that person for that long, and then to see him walk down the courtroom stairs like that, knowing that he's going to die in prison, that's heavy. Any level." Sutton, for her part, wonders if Erika is coming to see him. "I don't know," she says, "but I've said that exact same thing. What do I do?" Erika goes on to talk about how Tom was sentenced on his 86th birthday and that he's really not in good health. "I've thought about going to see Tom," she says in a frank interview. "Would he want to see me? Would he know what I am? Is there going to be some magic answer to all the questions I have? No, I've learned in a lot of therapy that sometimes you don't receive closure. You gotta shut it on your own." Erika responded no, flat out, when asked if she was still in contact with Tom during an April episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after show. But she did say there are moments when she thinks about him. Erika filed for divorce from Tom 5 years ago and is now in a new relationship with retired U.S. Army Special Ops Sergeant Major John McPhee. She announced their romance in July. On the October 12th episode of her Diamonds in the Rough podcast, Erika told RHOBH alum Teddy Mellencamp that John had took her away to Panama for a romantic getaway. "It was probably one of the best trips I've ever had, actually," she remarked. "We had a lovely trip, he and I," she went on. "Like dates and dinners and holding hands and walking around the old city of Panama. And it was so beautiful. I could just be and clear my thoughts, and I truly like it there." As for what the future held, Erika sounded like she was leaving that to fate. "I just don't know what's coming, and sometimes that's okay," she remarked. I want peace of mind. I want peace after these last 5 years. Erika Jayne shares rare insight into relationship with boyfriend John McPhee. Erika Jayne is talking about her relationship with her boyfriend John McPhee now more than ever. I just got off the phone with John, Erika told the Daily Dish exclusively on December 18th. All's well and all's good. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member continued to discuss what they've been up during the past few weeks. Last week, we were at Arlington Cemetery and we laid wreaths, she remarked, describing the event as emotional and great. On what Erika and John usually do together, she said, "We like to do all kinds of fun stuff." In addition to speaking to the Daily Dish, Erika also appeared on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen on December 18th when she announced that she will be spending the holidays with John, who she said is a very nice fella. Erika also stated that she and John had been officially dating for 6 months. Erika's love life announcement follows her initially confirming her relationship status with her boyfriend John at BravoCon 2025. "We met backstage in London at a show that I was doing," Erika told the Daily Dish during the December interview. News reports that John is a retired U.S. Army Special Operations Sergeant Major. In an episode of her podcast on July 30th, Erika claimed that he does not live in Southern California, but she was enjoying every minute they spent together. "So, this is a really great guy and I enjoy spending time with him." No, Erika remains not officially divorced from her ex-husband Tom Girardi. It's one pen stroke away, she told WWHL. Erika filed for divorce in 2020, but it has not been finalized yet. She explained this on WWHL, saying, "I filed for separation. It's quite tough to receive a divorce from an unskilled person. I have to check with the conservator, but it's not that easy. Cool your jets." Erika also opened up about not wanting to see Tom and not having seen him in a long time on the WHL. "It's too much," she said. "That's enough. He's finished. It is what it is." Erika had already spoken about this before on RHOBH, Season 15, Episode 2. "I've thought about visiting Tom," she stated in a confessional. "Would he want to see me at all? Would he know who I was? Is there going to be some magic answer to all the questions I have? Nope. Through a lot of therapy, I have learned that sometimes you don't obtain closure. You have to shut it yourself." Erika shares rare insight into her divorce, from her first husband and her son's reaction. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Erika Jayne revealed new details about her divorce from her first husband, Thomas Zizzo. After Rachel Zoe told her son she filed for divorce from Roger Berman during Season 15, Episode 12, a producer on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after show asked Erika, Kyle Richards, and Sutton Straka about their own post-split talks with their kids. Erika was the first to speak up, briefly discussing her sit-down with son Tommy Zizzo, now in his early 30s and working as a police officer in Los Angeles. Erika stated her son inquired why she and her first husband divorced because he never saw them argue. Interesting. Kyle called her uncommon statement on the matter. Erika told a BravoCon panel in 2023 that her first husband was a DJ she met at a bar in New York City where she lived at the time. They welcomed their only son, Thomas Jr., or Tommy, in 1992 and divorced in 1996 after about 5 years of marriage. Soon after, Erika moved to California and started working in the entertainment sector. In 1999, she married Tom Girardi. The couple parted in 2020, but have not yet divorced. In an August 2024 episode of the Two T's in a Pod podcast, Erika shared more about her relationship with her first husband and how they co-parented Tommy after they split. "I had a great relationship with my first husband, probably a better relationship divorced than married, and I'm very grateful that we are still friends to this day," she told podcast co-host Teddy Mellencamp. "I think that two people have to come and put the ST aside," the RHOBH wife responded when Teddy asked Erika for her 2 cents on how to get to a comparable level of strong co-parenting with an ex. Following her split with Tom, Erika went on to date new boyfriend John McPhee. after an abusive relationship with an anonymous person. She previously said on RHOBH, Season 15, that she met the retired U.S. Army Special Operations Sergeant Major backstage at London's Mighty Hoopla Festival in the late spring of 2025. In an exclusive interview with the Daily Dish, she recently shared her son Tommy had met John, saying the introduction went well. You know, John's a hero to a lot of people. John is an intimidating guy, so yeah, Erika continued, it went really well. Erika continued to offer more details on what her relationship with John looks like today. Everything's good, everything's great, she said before remembering a recent trip they did together. We were in Arlington Cemetery last week and put wreaths, Erika went on. We like to do all kinds of exciting stuff, he said. But one thing the couple has yet to do is hang out with her RHOBH co-stars. Erika told the show she hadn't introduced John to the other diamond holders. And on a February 2026 interview on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, she said he still had met no one from the ensemble. No more today. What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.